How you doing? Sitting here tonight at the vise. I'm going to do a quick video for you. Yeah, I ain't going to be too quick. Do something a little different than I've done before. This has been one of my hotter dry dropper patterns for the summer. It's called the Fat Albert. This is probably one of my favorite color patterns. It's brown, tan, and a little variation. I've got a little orange foam glued to the tan to give it a third color here. So I'm going to get started here. So we got the hook. Is a size 8, 2 extra long, heavy nymph hook, and I've got some 8/0 dark brown thread. So I'm going to lay down a base of thread on the hook shank, and I've left a little bit of a gap right behind the eye of the hook. Now I'm going to take this and run it down the bend of the hook a little ways, and then I'm going to take the thread right back up to where we started. And our first layer of foam is some size, it's a 2 mil brown. So I'm going to attach that and tie that in, making sure to keep it centered right on top. Okay, I got a nice coverage there, and now I'm going to take the next layer, which is the tan with the orange glued to the underside. Now when I tie this in, I want to make sure the orange is facing down, so when I go to tie it in now, I'm going to tie it in with the orange facing up. And I'm going to bind that down to back all the way to the back. Okay, so now I'm going to take and flatten my thread out. Now that I got that tied in, I'm going to make sure I got it where I wanted. Because what I want to do is I got to cover all this foam up with the dark brown thread. So the flatter I can have my thread, the faster it'll cover. I've got I'm going to flatten it out some more. There we go, it's covering up nicely now. A little more. Keeping it, just trying to keep it as flat as possible so it'll cover this foam better. Now I'm not too worried on the upper portion because of the orange thread. It's going to be a little harder to cover. I just want to make sure. Okay, let me check. Yep, we got the underside nice and covered. So then I'm going to come back here to the back, and I'm going to make, first is force, I'm going to pull the orange over. And I'm going to make 4 segments that are equal. Making sure to keep it centered on top. And I want it to end up just a little bit, well, about 2/3 of the way down the hook shank. Okay, so there's our top, there's our 4 segments. You can see the orange peeking through on the underside. Now I'm going to pull the over body over, tie that in. So there we got that. Okay, so now I'm going to take and tie in my legs, which I went ahead, I'm using Speckled Sexi floss, and I like to put the knot in them, it just gives it a neat look. So I'm going to tie in one set on this side, and I'm trying to keep that right in the center of the tan foam. And then we're going to take the other side. There we go. Get that centered in the tan. Okay, now we're going to tie in a wing. And what I'm going to use for the wing material on this is some MF's Montana Fly Company, the Widows Web. You can use a lot of different things for this wing back here. But you can use, I've seen guys use McFly on, but I'm just going to use some white Widow's Web. Okay, I'm going to tie it in the middle point and right on the center. I'm going to fold it over, add some. Okay. So we got that, and then I'm going to take another strip of tan foam, square up the end on it. Tie that in. I'm going to lift everything up now and run up to the front here, trying to cover up some of this. Okay, now I'm going to pull the first one right behind the eye. Couple wraps, pull that one over. Pull that one over, a couple more wraps. And then pull that one over. So just make sure everything's where I want it. Come back here and cut the wing off just past the back. Okay, and then now we're going to take and I'm going to trim each one of these. Okay, and then I'm going to taper them a little bit. So now I'm going to take a pair of legs in the front. And what I'm going to do is tie them both in on the top. And then I can pull these down on each side. Couple more wraps to secure them. Now instead of trying with all this stuff to do a whip finish, what I'm going to do is do the old super glue trick on the thread. So I'm going to take a few solid wraps right there. There we go. Now let that super glue dry. Come in and clip our thread. And then I'm going to take my legs, my front legs, pull them down, trim them all to length. to take the back ones, trim them to length, get them adjusted right where I want them, and then do one quick adjustment to make sure everything's sitting right. And now I'm going to turn the fly upside down in the vise, and I'm going to take some gloss coat. And give our thread a good coat. And we'll flip that back over. And there we have it, the Fat Albert.